Who would win in a fight? The Scarlet Witch or literally any other superhero?
I mean,
or even all of them at the same time.
I mean, this is tough to say because the Scarlet Witch literally beat all the other superheroes at the same time. When she reset the entire universe, she retconned everything. So,
well, yeah, that too.
And also she removed everyone's powers. She's the reason Jubilee doesn't have any powers anymore. Stupid friggin' Scarlet Witch.
No,
now Jubilee has to be a vampire. Hulk did the same thing where he beat all the other superheroes at the same time.
Yeah.
So who wins, Wanda or Hulk?
If we're looking at the cinematic universe, she won in Age of Ultron pretty easily against Hulk.
Yeah. But no, that wasn't enraged Hulk, right?
No, she enraged him on purpose.
Oh no.
She turned him into super enraged Hulk.
But don't you remember the sun was getting real low? So he wasn't that enraged.
I remember that part. I only remember that part because I just watched it. I remembered almost nothing about that movie.
There's a fun little party where everyone tries to lift Thor's hammer, and then a lot of remixes of songs from Pinocchio.
Yeah, dude, that was the best part of Age of Ultron.
That is the best part.
Was the trailer. As is often the case, the best part of many movies is the trailer.
Yeah.
The Force Awakens.
No strings
Age of
on
Ultron.
me.
I've got no strings to hold me.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh.
Wow.
People didn't like that trailer. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing trailer. Best thing that came out of that movie.
But wait, I have one for you. Who would win in a fight? Ash from Evil Dead or Deadite Doctor Strange?
Oh, Deadite Doctor Strange.
But no, that can't be Ash
What's
from
Ash
Evil
gonna
Dead.
do?
All he does
He's
is
got a
beat
boom
Deadites.
stick.
I mean,
yeah, but not super magical sorcerer ones. Well, sometimes. No. So Ash usually, at least in Ash versus the Evil Dead, the show, he usually has to get help from powerful
other
things.
or other
find,
sorcerers
relics,
or other artifacts. Yeah, I
know.
know. Doctor Strange, what's he gonna do to Ash? I mean, he might enchant Ash's hand and turn it evil, but Ash already knows how to deal with that. You just chop it off and get a chainsaw arm. I mean,
or just wait for 3 weeks until it stops.
That too. That could be one way of dealing with it, apparently. No, I mean, I gotta say, hail to the king, baby. I think Ash would win.
Hello and welcome to The Popcorn Isn't Real. I'm Leif Herrick. Wow,
and Leif Herrick.
With my co-host Torvald.
Hi, Leif
This
Herrick.
is the podcast where we talk about fan theories, and today we're covering, I think, what you might call a big one because it's from a big universe. We haven't done a lot of things from the big IPs like Star Wars or Marvel. Well, I don't know what the other one is. Well, we did a lot of Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I had a dream last night that I was at Hogwarts and one of my classmates was not Rufio from Hook, but the guy who plays him, the actor.
Wow.
So the actor who plays Rufio from Hook, but still dressed up as Rufio.
Well,
Hook.
I mean, to be fair, I can't imagine him any other way.
I know, I can't either. So.
Whoa, dude, you're dreaming about Dante Bosco.
He was just talking to me and he was like, yeah, I just like to dress up like this sometimes, This is how people know me.
Whoa. I had a dream where I was at Hogwarts once and there was a megalodon shark that was loose in the lake and was terrorizing the castle.
Oh, no.
We realized that the only way to beat it was with some enchanted melody. And then we came up with this solution. We were like, we're going to record the song and, play it on a big boombox and we'll just throw that boombox in the shark's mouth. And so that's what we did. And the shark ate the boombox and then it went underwater. And then we could hear...
I know how this goes.
We could hear bubbling. We could hear music. And then suddenly the shark burst out and it opened its mouth and it started singing. And it was going, hey, now, you're an all-shark. Get your shark on. Go play. It was so
That's
good.
exactly what a shark would do.
And of course it was singing. It had a boombox in its stomach, right? It couldn't help it.
Yeah. Man, that
no,
was
it's a singing shark. It's an all shark.
And that might sound like nothing having to do with the Marvel Universe, but we are going to talk a lot about dreams today.
Wait, well, what are we talking about? We're talking about like what? Endgame, Infinity War.
No, we're not going to cover any of the popular movies. We are covering Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, directed by my friend Sam Raimi.
Whoa, dude, you used to work for him.
I know. I used to work for Sam Raimi, and he's a great guy. If you know anything about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there's going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, there is a spoiler at the very beginning of this movie. You have to watch like 10 minutes in. So just warning you. So Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is about Doctor Strange fighting the irredeemably evil Scarlet Witch,
yeah, he's fighting Wanda. She's the main bad guy. That's the big twist for this movie, which hits you like right away.
And Wanda is a powerhouse, possibly one of the most powerful, no, not possibly, the most powerful villain they've ever faced in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think, including Thanos.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange fights her alone without any Avengers. My theory is that that is not true. The Scarlet Witch is not that powerful. She has powers.
Wait, are you saying that like in her dreams she would be that powerful?
I'm saying that Wanda's power in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this theory only applies to the cinematic universe, not the comic book universe or anything else.
Okay.
I'm saying that her primary power has always been to affect people's minds and exploit their fears. My theory is that the entirety of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is his worst nightmare that is being given to him by the Scarlet Witch messing with his mind.
So you think this is all Doctor Strange's nightmare? It's just a bad dream?
Yes, I believe the whole movie is a bad dream.
How come there was no big reveal at the end where he wakes up and it was all a dream?
Well, I don't believe that he wakes up. And I think that's intentional.
Okay.
So
well, that's weird.
So we'll get into it.
So this movie's even more tragic than it actually was. Well, wait, I want to ask you, how do you feel about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Do you like it? Do you hate it? It's very divisive. It's a very divisive movie.
Having just watched it for the second time, I think I actually like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I do too.
The first time I watched it, it was certainly off-putting just because of
there's
some
a
of
lot
the
of off-putting
choices they make with
it.
overpowered Wanda.
Yeah.
In some ways, I feel like it was just like a middle finger to the fans.
I had very mixed feelings about it when I first saw it, and I tend to agree with you. Having seen it again, a lot of my negative feelings are a little more dulled, and my positive feelings, I think, shine through. So I think I like it.
Sam Raimi made a very cool superhero horror film, and that's not something we've seen a lot of before. Yeah. And it's like a superhero slasher film, and Wanda's the slasher, and she's unstoppable, and they're just spending the whole movie running away from Wanda as
more or
she
less,
slowly, catches up with them until Doctor Strange learns how to be just as scary as her.
Well, yeah. I really appreciate that they took the chance on it, and it's too bad they'll never do it again. They
gave Sam Raimi way more artistic freedom than Sony did when he made the Spider-Man films. So, which is weird because he hasn't had a hit in how long? Why did you go to Sam Raimi and be like, you can do films, whatever you want?
He was
take
chugging
the
out
only popular characters we have left
and kill them,
and just crap all over them.
Yeah, just kill them all. Get them out of here. We don't want Wanda anymore. I completely understand people not liking it. And, I don't think I would go to bat to defend it very hard. Just because there are certainly things that you might hate about this movie if you're a Wanda fan or a Doctor Strange fan or
I'm neither of those
Xavier
things I hated about
or
this movie.
A Captain Marvel fan or a Mr. Fantastic fan
Fantastic.
Or a Captain America fan. Yeah, I mean
even an America Chavez fan.
Right. Lucky for me, I'm not particularly a fan of any of those characters except for Xavier, so he's the one who really hurt.
I still kind of hated it when I first watched it.
Yeah, I know.
Not even liking any of them.
Yeah. The one thing that I love about this movie, and I always loved about this movie, is my own interpretation. I truly believe that Sam Raimi had an incredible grasp on the character of Doctor Strange. He caught on to the key character trait of Doctor Strange, which is that he makes rash, impulsive, far-reaching, bad decisions to deal with his problems. And the consequences of those decisions are always incredibly bad. And that's Doctor Strange's
ruined
character.
Peter's life.
Yeah, okay, so let's go through this. He was like, hey, I broke my hands. What should I do about this? Oh, I know. I will journey across the world and switch religions and become a wizard. Like, that was his solution. He's like, I won't just, retire as like a very rich doctor. I'm going to become a wizard. That's what I'm going to do. Up next, he was like, I need to stop Thanos. How can I stop Thanos? Well, I have this stone that can turn back time. I'll give it to him. I will give this to Thanos and I'll let him snap out half of existence. That'll do it. Pretty bad decision. Not the best way to deal with his problems.
Far-reaching consequences, not just for the universe, but on a meta level for Marvel itself is still having problems, I think, with that decision.
Absolutely. And I love that this movie calls it out so much, where so many people are like, are you sure you had to do that, Doctor Strange? Wasn't there some other way? And then he immediately goes to another universe where there was another way. They easily beat Thanos without giving him the time stone. He was completely wrong. He's like,
there were so many ways.
Oh, geez. They could have just fought Thanos and beat him. Like, I mean, Iron Man and Mantis alone almost beat Thanos. If Peter Quill hadn't saved him, I mean, geez.
I know. But I hate to give Peter too hard of a rap there because
he's
Doctor
stupid?
Strange could have beat him alone.
Yeah.
There is no reason Doctor Strange could not have beaten Thanos without anyone's help. It's ridiculous that he was just chilling there doing nothing.
All he had to do was open one sling ring portal and put it around Thanos' arm and close it.
Yes. At the very beginning of that movie, it's set up in that movie, not even a different one. They show that you can use those portals that Doctor Strange uses all the time to chop off arms of really big things that are about Thanos-sized
things. Yeah.
And yet, when they get to the end there, they're like, we gotta get it off his arm. And Doctor Strange is literally floating there, just staring at his arm like, what could I do to help?
I've got this ring.
Oh,
chops people's
time
arms
stone.
off.
Here.
Oh, I'll just give it to him. There you go. Here's the time stone.
That's what he wants, guys. He'll just leave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, he's the master of bad decisions. And you already alluded to this, but one day, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, came to Doctor Strange and he was like sad because everyone knew his identity. And Doctor Strange is like, well, I know how to fix this. I will erase Peter Parker from the entire universe. I will erase him from
existence. Doesn't even stop to think, this is a teenager coming to me, a powerful adult with a small problem.
Like, all he had to do was, like, give him a pat on the back and say, keep it up, kid. He didn't need to erase him from existence. Like, not just his own universe, mind you, but, like, I think he was erasing him from every universe.
Yeah.
And the next bad decision comes from this movie, from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where we find out that other universe Strange needed to stop Thanos in the Illuminati world, and he said, how can I do that? Oh, I know. I'll use the Darkhold and Dreamwalk and cause incursions, which in no way stopped Thanos at all. They just stopped him in a completely different way, using like a completely different book.
Right. He basically did what our Doctor Strange did, which was just sit around thinking about it for a long time and not helping. And then he did something really bad. Only in this case, it didn't really help Thanos. It just had nothing to do with him.
Well, and then we see, in my opinion, one of the worst examples of him making horrible decisions. We see the bad universe Doctor Strange at the very end of this movie, where his problem was, I want Christine to love me. How can I do that? I know, I'll use the Darkhold and get an extra eye and Dreamwalk and kill all the Doctor Stranges. I'll kill them all. That will make Christine love me.
All the Doctor Stranges who didn't
do anything. They had nothing to do with anything. Oh, and I'll also cause a bunch of incursions, even in my own universe. Why not? Right? Like, good decision there. That's my theory, is that that's just Doctor Strange's defining character trait, is that he sees a problem and finds the worst solution and just fully commits. That's his thing. He finds bad solutions.
Yep.
I also do have another theory. I think that this movie was originally going to have nothing to do with the Darkhold, but then Sam Raimi came on and he was like, wait, there's an evil book in the Marvel universe. I love evil books. I have to have that in my movie. I think he's just fully committed to evil books. Sam Raimi loves evil books. But no.
The evil book was introduced in WandaVision. Mm-hmm. So...
right. I don't think this movie was originally going to have Wanda. I think he was like, I need that. I need Wanda. He
watched WandaVision. Yes. He was like, wait, she's got an evil book now. Mm-hmm. I know what to do with her.
Yeah. I'll give it over to you. What do you want to tell us about this movie?
I already said my theory that it's all a dream. The popcorn isn't real. In order to prove that, I need to prove that Wanda's power is mostly based on controlling minds and manipulating fear. I also need to prove that most of the things she does in this movie are nightmarish, dreamlike, and unrealistic. The last thing I need to prove is why. Why would she do this to Doctor Strange?
The Scarlet Witch I've seen in these movies is generally like shooting red lasers from her hands, and that's pretty much her powers. So where are you getting that from?
She seems to have mild telepathic abilities, which is that she can read minds, manipulate brains and fears, and she's telekinetic. She can levitate things. And that's all her red lasers ever do. They just move things around. That's it.
Okay, so they blast things. It's
only
like a
in this movie
blast.
do they start like disintegrating
things, spaghettifying Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, pretty crazy.
I'm going to go through a few of Wanda's appearances before Multiverse of Madness, leading up to Multiverse of Madness. We first meet her in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. Do you remember what starts this whole movie? Like the conflict of this whole movie?
Okay, it starts with them they're having a battle.
Because I didn't.
It's Black Widow and Hulk. They're in Genosha, and the Hulk is hulking out, and then Black Widow's like, "No, the sun's getting real low, big guy." And then they leave. And then there's like a bunch of articles about it. These two kids who were like living in Genosha are also real sad about it. And those kids are Quicksilver and Wanda. Am I way far off? I haven't seen this movie in a long time.
I mean, there are parts of that are true, but like, what's the main conflict? Whose name is in the title of the movie?
Oh, there's an evil general living in Genosha, and they beat him, but Tony Stark is like, this isn't good enough. We need to make a suit of armor for the world. So he makes Ultron.
But do you remember why he makes that decision?
Yeah, he did that because he was so traumatized by the events of Avengers 1, blasting out into space and then going through a portal and then seeing Thanos' army, that he's like, there's an army coming. We gotta protect the Earth.
Okay, that's sort of true. But actually what traumatized him and what causes this entire movie is Wanda touches his head and makes him afraid at the very beginning.
You're right.
He's afraid. He imagines these things just invading the Earth. And that's what makes him decide to create Ultron.
Yeah.
Now, you could actually make the argument that perhaps Age of Ultron is all in Tony's head, because when Ultron first shows up, he says, "I'm sorry, I was asleep." Or, "Was I a dream?"
Yeah, it's true. He does say that.
So maybe this whole thing is a dream. I don't know.
Ultron only makes appearances when Scarlet Witch is apparently making people dream, because he shows up in that movie and he shows up in this movie and Multiverse of Madness.
That might just be her thing. She just
makes
robots
Ultrons
that have
dreams.
like smiley faces on there.
Dude, and Ultron became Vision, and Vision is her boyfriend. He's her dream boyfriend. He's the man of her dreams. She did make Ultron. Oh my gosh. This is so good.
What are the limits of her powers? Now, we learn from this movie that she can create an entire alternate world dream sequence for people just by getting near their head.
When you say
She doesn't
this
even
movie,
have
you
to
mean
touch
Age of
them.
Ultron.
In Age of Ultron, yeah. So she does this to Thor. She does this to Black Widow. She does this to Captain America during one fight scene. In Thor's dream, It's important to note that the people who are in these nightmare sequences, they don't think that they are dreaming. In fact, Thor even says, knowing what Wanda's powers are, he says, she didn't get into my head, and then he wanders into Valhalla.
Yep.
And then some interesting things start happening. Very powerful people like Heimdall start disintegrating before his very eyes.
Yeah.
And that might sound familiar if you've watched Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Natasha has a nightmare where she is walking by the ballet/KGB underground facility she lives in. Yeah. And she sees a bunch of fellow children who have no mouths. Their mouths have been, knitted over by skin.
Dude,
and that
what if those children
familiar?
had like voice powers that could disintegrate anybody?
Yeah, well,
what do you
their
think
heads would just explode.
I know.
Just die.
No.
Wanda does have some slight telekinetic abilities. She has red stuff that can like lift things. She stops a runaway train at one point in this movie.
Spider-Man could do that.
Yeah, of course. Spider-Man could do that with webs and like a weird look on his face.
Yeah, and then they'd be like, careful, he's a hero as they pass him around.
Whoa. Dude. Speaking of Sam Raimi's greatest works.
My favorite Sam Raimi story is when you guys were working on, you told me this story. You guys were working on a script for Blumhouse, or what was his production company?
His company is called Ghost House, not Blumhouse.
Yeah, you guys were working on a script for Ghost House, just one of those horror movies that they came out with. And he was saying something, and then apparently it wasn't like that great of an idea. And he was like, no, this is how we're going to do it. This is from the mind that brought you guys Spider-Man 3. And then he just like left the room. As far as I remember.
That's not exactly what happened.
He was from the genius mind that gave
what
you
he was
Spider-Man
doing
3.
was he was pretending to be a diva. He was doing it in a joking manner, and he was talking to the person who was in charge of getting drinks. He said, "What, are you in charge of getting drinks? All right, look, what I want you to do," this is exactly how he talks. "Look, what I want you to do is I want you to go down to the store, and I want you to look at all the drinks, and I want the one drink that they don't have, because that's the kind of director I am. This is from the genius mind that brought you Spider-Man 3.
Wow. Dude,
anyway, he was
such a genius.
He was just joking.
Clearly
he was putting himself down.
Still to this day, there has been no superhero movie dance sequence like that of Spider-Man 3. So
dude, that was pretty good. It's much better without music.
It's so good. I mean, it's just great. It's so good. I have to believe that both Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire were fully on board with the in-your-face awkwardness of that scene. They knew what they were doing.
Moving along with Wanda's story, just a small note from Civil War. When Wanda is turning against Vision, which I forgot even happened, this is Captain America Civil War. He says, "If you do this, they will never stop fearing you." And she says, "I cannot control their fear, only my own," which I think is a lie.
Yeah,
because
that's like
she
her
clearly
thing.
can control people's fear. That's her power.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what she's going on about there. Then WandaVision. We gotta recap WandaVision. So spoilers if you haven't seen WandaVision. I do think that it is one of the most interesting things that Disney has put out as a TV series in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
And it received good reviews. People liked WandaVision. Mm-hmm. Really the only series in the Marvel Universe that was popular other than maybe Loki.
Yeah, people love Loki.
If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it, but I am going to spoil it. So WandaVision is about Wanda going to a small town, being very sad because she lost Vision. She lost
she created
her brother.
The small town, right?
No, the small town already exists, but she uses her powers to sort of recreate this small town into a picturesque town from a sitcom. Yeah. And she recreates Vision, and it's all about S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to get into this town to figure out what's happening.
Why did S.H.I.E.L.D. care so much about this?
They just didn't like Wanda because she actually showed up at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters and she requested the body of Vision and they wouldn't give it to her. And she was like, fine, I'm going to go make my own
I'll
Vision.
Make my own Vision.
Hookers and blackjack.
And hookers. In fact, forget the Vision.
And she did that and they were mad. They're like, what? Hookers and blackjack?
What? We got to put a stop to this. That's illegal. There's no gambling in that state or prostitution.
In WandaVision, we get some backstory on Wanda. You might have thought from Age of Ultron that she got her powers from being experimented on by these, whatever they were, Nazis.
Yeah, big Nazis, yes. That's what I thought. Is that not true?
They seem to be like World War II Nazis.
Yeah, that's what they are.
I don't know what they're doing in the modern day, but actually, she was always a witch. She just wasn't a very powerful one. But we learn from WandaVision that what made her powerful is that when she was with this terrorist organization, she spent a lot of time in proximity to the Mind Stone. And that's what made her powerful.
Okay.
Would that Mind Stone give her magic powers? No, it would give her mind powers.
Yeah.
That's what the Mind Stone does. So the majority of her power
mind distortion
is from mind power. Like she already had some maybe slight ability to manipulate items telekinetically or maybe manipulate probability, but she got her mind powers from the Mind Stone.
I can buy that. That makes perfect sense. So she's gone off her rocker completely nuts, so much so that she's lost her sense of reality and now thinks she's a part of this Pleasantville world that she created. And she's doing all this so that she can recreate her dead boyfriend Vision. What about her dead brother Quicksilver? Why doesn't she try to recreate him? She loved that guy. They grew up together. They were all each other had.
Well, she does recreate Quicksilver.
Wait, but she does?
It's actually not her. There's another witch living in her town who recreates Quicksilver for her. And that witch doesn't know what Quicksilver looks like, but apparently she watched the X-Men movies and she knows what that Quicksilver looked like. No,
that's pretty good.
She says that she takes over an existing person whose last name is Boner.
Wow.
I forget his first name.
What a good joke.
Yeah, everyone is so excited to see Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. Mm-hmm. It's the other actor. And this happens after they've bought Fox, right? People are thinking they're going to do something with that.
Uh-huh.
And no, instead it's just a boner joke. And they just middle finger to the fans. Haha, you thought we were going to do something with that? Nope. I do have to correct you. So Wanda is not crazy. She does not believe this world is real. She is in this world knowing it's not real and knowing that she is controlling everyone to be there against their will.
Okay, but she doesn't mind.
She is the villain of WandaVision.
Sam Raimi, he got her right. She's a bad person by now. She's
interpreting what he likely saw from WandaVision. She is bad in that show. She's the main villain until the end when the other witch shows up.
She enslaved an entire city just to make herself feel good.
Yeah.
Then why do so many fans defend her? She's horrible. She's a slaver.
She is. I mean, and she sided with Captain America during the Civil War. So
how could she?
I mean, some people side. How can you side with Captain America? He's siding with the Winter Soldier.
I know.
The Winter Soldier is a bad guy, regardless of whether or not he killed Black Panther's dad or something. I don't even remember what they say.
Yeah, and Iron Man's dad and mom.
So in WandaVision, she has two children who are part of this fantasy she's created. And at the end, she has to let them go because she realizes, and that's why maybe people believe she's not a villain, because if you've watched this whole show and invested in it, her arc is coming to terms with everything and realizing what she's doing is bad.
I get it. So she was
and sacrificing everything she
Sam
loves to let the people free because she puts her boys to bed and then she disappears them from existence. Herself. No one takes them from her, as she says in Multiverse of Madness. They're not taken from her. She gives them up willingly. And that's her arc. And that, I think, is why people are annoyed that when Multiverse of Madness starts and she's like, I will kill everyone to get my boys back that I literally destroyed to save everyone.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can see why people would be pissed that they completely reversed her arc. My favorite line from the entire Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness Right when it's revealed that Wanda is the bad guy of this movie, she's talking to Doctor Strange, and she reveals that she wants her kids back, right? And Doctor Strange is like, Wanda, those children were a fantasy. You created them using magic. And then she just kind of shrugs and is like, but that's what every mother does. And I thought that was really funny because, I mean, she's kind of right. Like, that's, mothers create children using magic.
Also, she was like raised in like a cult, so she may not know where babies come from.
It's true. She actually believes that. Well, I mean, Vision doesn't have genitals, so yeah, he can't help her with that. Like, she's like, what other? I mean, how else could I create
WandaVision,
children?
I think they just do the thing where they like pull up the covers over themselves, sitcom style, and then next episode she's like super pregnant and then gets really pregnant throughout that episode and has them all in just a few hours.
Wow. Yeah. So. I mean, that makes sense though. She learned everything about like human life from watching TV. So she's like, yeah, people have kids in like a couple episodes.
So in WandaVision, it's important to note things that go into her bubble of reality are transformed. So like they drive a shield truck in and it transforms into an ice cream truck. Okay. And I think that this is evidence to show that she's not literally changing reality. She's just controlling everyone's mind within this bubble. And people think these things are. Vision never really existed. It's just everyone in her bubble believes he does. And so does she, because she can manipulate minds.
But the people aren't necessarily asleep. Right? Like they're not dreaming.
No. It's like waking nightmares. So that brings us to the Multiverse of Madness. The first thing in this movie is very important. It is Doctor Strange waking up from a crazy nightmare.
Dude, and I have to point out, alternate Doctor Strange in that world, he made a very bad decision. He was tasked with the one task, which was, I have to save this girl named America, which is a very confusing name. And he's like, how can I save her? Oh, I know. I will kill her. That's how I'll save her.
I'll do it.
Kill her. Living up to your one defining feature, making bad decisions to solve your problems.
I believe that Doctor Strange, when he wakes up here, he doesn't really wake up. He is already at the very beginning of this movie in Wanda's nightmare. It's sort of a waking nightmare, so he might actually be walking around and doing things, but he's already kind of under her spell. How do we know that that opening sequence was a dream? Well, when he meets America, he remembers her. Which he shouldn't, because he shouldn't be looking into other multiverses randomly. And they say in this movie, oh, dreams are just us looking into other multiverses.
Yeah.
That's BS. That's something that's created by Wanda in this nightmare she's creating.
Okay, but what about all those times that Doctor Strange dreamed that he was falling and it was actually evil Strange killing him? In other universes.
Well, I mean, Evil Strange is yet another nightmare creation. That's just another evidence that he's a nightmare. He's the falling dream.
What about America? Which, that's the worst name for her. Half of this movie, whenever they said, we have to find America, we got to save America, I legitimately thought they were talking about Captain America. And I was like, why? We don't need him.
Now I got to find him.
But no, what about America?
Why isn't he in this movie?
I know, we got to get
That's what I kept asking when I was watching. And I'm like, why isn't Captain America?
Yeah, he's usually here. Where is he? No, what about Miss America here? Is she a figment of his imagination created by Wanda, or is she real? Is she some sort of dream hopping person?
So we know from WandaVision that Wanda can create fake people who believe they are real, who have real thoughts, real emotions, and real arcs. So I think that's what America Chavez is. We know that she's a sort of a fabricated person. Well, because she says that she's been to lots of multiverses and she's never seen another version of herself because Wanda didn't bother creating one.
How does that prove anything? Hold on. Your logic
Wanda
is flawed.
didn't bother making one.
If Wanda created America, and if all of this is about, I know, and
when I created the world,
that's her name. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, if Wanda created this woman. And if her true goal is to, I don't know, mess with Doctor Strange, I guess, is what you're saying, then why is she so dead set on catching this woman and stealing her universe hopping power?
The reason for Wanda doing this is twofold. She wants revenge on Doctor Strange specifically. She hates Doctor Strange, and she wants him to experience his worst nightmare. And we'll get to why, because she talks about it in a minute.
It's because he gave Thanos the time stone.
Yeah, I know.
He's a dumb loser. He made the worst possible decision right then.
Also, she is in big trouble with S.H.I.E.L.D. for what she did in Westview, and she knows that. So she talks about this in the scene when he goes to talk to her. He goes to the person that's looking for her to get help to protect her, and then tells her exactly where she is.
Yeah, he's a pretty
Yet another
smart
good
guy,
decision from Doctor
decisions
Strange. And in this scene, she thinks he's coming after her for Westview, and he's like, "No, it's fine. You're cool. You're good." In typical Doctor Strange fashion, he's like, "You made some bad decisions. I do it all the time." S.H.I.E.L.D. specifically is after her, and she needs someone to
take the blame,
know that she is a villain so that she can fake her own death. And that very credible person who is a superhero that everyone loves, Doctor Strange, will tell S.H.I.E.L.D. that she's dead, and they'll believe him. So.
Except for when Doctor Strange after that is like, just ask Wong. He was there. And Wong's going to be like, what? That never happened. Because it was all Doctor Strange's dream.
We'll talk about Wong. Was there. During the reception for his ex-girlfriend Christine's wedding, he changes her drink, which might be water, but also might be white wine. He changes it to red. This shows us he's already in the dream, because as we'll see throughout this movie, red means dream world or Wanda's power. And when you see the color red, it's telling us that Wanda's the one in control. Now, the colors to watch out in this movie for are, you may have guessed, red, white, and blue. America's colors.
I definitely had not guessed that, but it makes sense, I guess.
The color code, red being the dream world or Wanda, blue being possibly reality, and then white being that thin veneer of ice between them, the ice that breaks, between life and death, between dreams and reality that took his sister.
So do you think that Wanda named her America just to make the whole idea of Doctor Strange saving her like more ingrained into him? She's like, save America. You have to save America. And he's like, I'm always saving America. Of course I will.
Yeah. No, I do think that's part of it, because Wanda herself is an immigrant, and she's sort of been lied to about this American dream that she created in Westview, but it was not true. And I think she's kind of disillusioned by the American dream. And so she creates America and is like, go save America, Doctor Strange. Of course, her doing this to Doctor Strange is like, because he is living the American dream, right? He was a ridiculously successful surgeon in New York, and now he's
broke his hands, became a wizard. It's like the American dream.
Exactly. You go to some other country and become a wizard. So how America proves to him that the thing that he dreamed wasn't a dream is she shows him his own dead body.
Right. Well, him from the other universe.
But to me, that seems like something that could happen in a nightmare.
Ah!
What's Doctor Strange's worst nightmare? His own dead body.
I mean, the weirdest part of this scene to me that feels somewhat dreamlike is that they've got this body laying on the top of this building, and Doctor Strange is like, I guess we better do something about this. Then he uses his magic to deconstruct a concrete part of the roof. He removes the concrete bricks, and underneath them is just dirt.
It's dirt.
And he moves the dirt and puts the body in and then fills it in. It's like, apparently there was just a plot of burial dirt on top of this building waiting for him.
I was a little confused about that too.
I don't know. Why was that there?
I do believe
I could have understood if the dirt was there for people to have a plot of
grass and tree on that roof. So maybe.
But it was covered in concrete.
Yeah, that part shouldn't have dirt under it. There's no point.
I don't know.
So I don't know. We also know that Scarlet Witch can easily trick Doctor Strange into thinking things are real, even when they are not. Because when he goes to visit her at the orchard, he smells the tree and says, it smells real.
Well, but I thought that was to show his perception that he knew it wasn't real all along.
He really didn't, because why did he tell her where America is?
Well, yeah, fair enough. I think maybe he thought she was just having fun with magic, and he could tell that these were magical trees. So he's like, hey, good job, Wanda. It smells real.
Yeah. But It turns out that what actually happened was Scarlet Witch apparently found a hellish burned orchard.
Yeah, what the crap is up with this place? I don't understand what she's doing here or what it is. It's like in a perpetual setting sun that is like a million billion miles closer to the Earth than it should be because it like takes up half the horizon and everything's burning. Like, what is this place? I mean, definitely, however you interpret it, she has sucked him into some sort of delusion here and created this place in his mind.
There's no way that actually happened, right? That's some sort of nightmare going on in his head because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So she basically tells him everything that's happened is your fault. You gave the time stone to Thanos. Thanos won. Vision is dead because of Thanos. And also, it eventually led to me making up my own town and children that I also had to sacrifice. That's all on Doctor Strange in her mind. She wants to give Doctor Strange that same nightmare that she herself endured, essentially just the worst things possible happening to him, his worst fears.
That makes sense. And that's basically the rest of this movie. Is him seeing a world without the Avengers where he was a big failure and a giant moron and was executed by the Avengers, and then another world where he turned evil and destroyed everything. I mean, I can buy it.
So we've seen examples where she can get into someone's head and they just walk around in the normal world, like Tony Stark doing normal things, but she's still in their head. Or like Thor, where initially she's in his head, but then he wanders into a crazy dream world. I don't believe the Darkhold book that she got at the end of WandaVision gave her new powers. I think it just increased the powers she already has. I believe that Doctor Strange actually does go to the monastery and that she does get into the heads of everyone there, even though it looks like she only maybe gets into one guy's head.
Yeah. So you think he actually went to the monastery, like in real life?
Yeah.
But he brought America there and they hid her.
Yeah. Well, she was close enough that that Wanda was following him close enough behind that she was able to affect everyone's minds like she did in Westview, and they are all seeing America.
Okay.
I
feel like this makes more sense if it was all a dream.
Alternate interpretation. So I had two prepared. Alternate interpretation. So he goes to this monastery. Now tell me, does this sound like a dream to you? So we were all at this monastery, and then like this evil witch showed up floating in the sky, and then there was like a minotaur, but he was like a green minotaur, and he was like a totally nice minotaur. He was on our side.
Yeah.
And then we fought the witch, and then she went through a mirror. Then she came out of some water.
Yeah, okay. I mean, at any point in this, does Valkyrie point to like a wall of trees and say, this means danger? Because
I mean, basically, Wong points to
that sounds
Wanda and says, this means danger.
That sounds pretty much like a bad dream. I can get down with this. I hope this is a dream, because if not, I guess we've already established how powerful Wanda is, apparently, if this is real.
Yeah.
But, like, they do a pitiful job trying to fight off one single, witch. Like, come on, guys. Yeah. This is literally their job. They're supposed
to be fairly powerful. Yeah.
Well, and of everyone in the Marvel universe that is equipped to fight a magic user, right? Like, they're not so good at fighting, people with random powers or mutants or whatever, but they should know how to fight a witch. That's their thing. These are wizards. They know magic.
Sometimes she is a mutant. Doctor Strange does his thing where he puts Wanda into like a crazy Doctor Strange kaleidoscope world.
It's not that crazy, and it doesn't really stop her at all.
Nope. This gives her the ability to use reflections. She goes through glass, and now she can come out of water. She's never been able to do any of this before.
No.
Like, not even in WandaVision could she do anything crazy like this.
Nothing like this. She's never had weird mirror
you can
powers.
just explain it away.
You can say it's the Darkhold, right? The Darkhold
gave
her this power.
Yeah, you can just say Darkhold, but I don't think the Darkhold is giving her any extra powers. I think it's just making her mind control powers that much more.
This movie itself actually shows that she can use special powers from the Darkhold that she doesn't possess herself, but she needs the Darkhold to be able to do that. Because in this very next scene, she's trying to do a special Darkhold spell, and they burn up the Darkhold. And then she doesn't have it, and she can't do the spell. And she's like, what are you doing? You got to take me the other Darkhold that apparently there's another Darkhold.
Even though she doesn't have the Darkhold anymore, she still seems to be able to do pretty crazy stuff, and she can beat Wong, who's fairly powerful. He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I know.
It's like she shouldn't be able to beat Wong without the Darkhold, unless she's in his head, and the only reason she's powerful is because she's tricking him into thinking she is. She goes through glass. Hey, what does going through the looking glass mean? That means going into a dream world.
Mind control.
Well, yeah, that too. But this time, going through the looking glass means going into the dream world.
You could say the same thing about every time America takes them to another universe. It's kind of like they break through the glass.
Which is another hint that America is a dream person, taking them to dream worlds. Here she explains a little more about her motivation. She says every night she dreams of her children, and every morning she wakes up to the same nightmare of being alone. For her, every day is a living nightmare, and that's why she wants to do this to Doctor Strange, because it's his fault that she has to live this way.
Okay. One piece of evidence around this point that I saw that Doctor Strange is dreaming, or at least not like fully in control of his faculties, or this could just be another example of him seeing a problem and making the worst possible decision with horrible consequences. But his friend America robs a salesman, grabs some food, and then the salesman is like, hey, you got to pay for that. And also, by the way, he's played by Bruce Campbell, who is Ash from The Evil Dead. But Doctor Strange is like, oh, so she took food and didn't pay for it. I guess I'll solve this by cursing his hand to attack him for 3 weeks straight. Yes. And I'm like,
it does seem to be both of his hands sometimes.
To this problem. But either way, that's a really mean thing to do to this poor street vendor.
But
it's
a great reference to Evil Dead 2. So
he's got an evil hand. He just chainsawed it off.
Yeah. When I first heard of the Multiverse of Madness, I, like many people, thought that this movie was going to be about going through lots of different multiverses.
Yeah, everyone thought
that. But that only happens in a very short sequence where America takes them through like 10 different weird, like, paint universe.
Yeah, no, this movie should have actually been called Doctor Strange and One Single Alternate Universe plus a building. Because those are the only two things he goes to.
Random haunted house.
Yes. In this universe, to me, the main distinguishing feature is that they call the Avengers the Illuminati, which is a silly name for the Avengers. But
that's weird, but I think it kind of figures into the whole through the looking glass thing.
But they're not a secret society. Everyone knows about them. They're the Avengers of this universe. Why are they calling themselves the Illuminati?
Wanda called them that because she knows that she's causing Doctor Strange to dissociate and go into a dream world.
So you're back on Monarch mind control, okay? I thought we were saying that the looking glass means dreaming, not mind control.
Sorry.
The kind of de facto face of the Illuminati in this universe is the Sorcerer Supreme, a man named Mordo, who Doctor Strange knows very well, and he hates Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange hates him, and they're about to fight. Because, of course, we've seen them fight before. But wait.
No, we haven't.
I've never seen them fight before.
Oh my gosh.
Who is this guy? What the crap is going on? Why are they acting like we know who this is? I have no idea who this guy is.
So yeah, Mordo shows up. I have no memory of him. Like, literally nothing. Nothing in my mind. Who is this guy?
It's like in Metroid when that guy takes off his mask and is like, remember me? Smiles and you're like, no, I don't remember you. Who are you?
So I went back just because he acts like Mordo. Oh, I know Mordo. You hated me. You wanted to be Sorcerer Supreme. You betrayed me. Like he acts like this is a bad guy.
He keeps like dropping pieces of their backstory as if we know it because he won't explain it himself.
I watched the first Doctor Strange again and looked for Mordo.
Is he in it?
He's in the whole thing. He's in a lot of it. I just had no memory of him. Like the dude is actually there a lot. He doesn't ever betray Doctor Strange though. He's not a bad guy. He's literally just Wong. Like Doctor Strange has two sidekicks in that movie and it's Wong and Mordo. And they both fight Mads Mikkelsen together. Along with Doctor Strange. Like those three face off against Mads Mikkelsen at the end. And then at the end, what's his name?
Mordo?
Mordo. I already forgot his name. Mordo says to Doctor Strange that like the way he defeats Dormammu is like bad, I guess. I don't really understand why, but he's like, you messed with the natural laws and we should never do that. And I'm leaving. I'm not going to be part of this monastery anymore. Goodbye forever.
Oh, so he didn't try to usurp Doctor Strange in any way whatsoever.
No.
And he didn't want to be Sorcerer Supreme. That's weird.
I mean, he might have wanted it.
Well, he never made it clear to us if he wanted it. Like, that's so strange. I didn't remember him existing. So wait, you're saying that maybe that guy didn't want to be Sorcerer Supreme, but Doctor Strange thought he did. And Wanda, of course, is making his fears come true. So he's like, it's that big rival that hated me. He hated me so much.
Because he just thought I did things wrong. He probably wished he was the leader. He probably
was jealous. He just wanted to be Sorcerer Supreme. Okay, I get it.
She couldn't make Wong Sorcerer Supreme because that already happened. That's not his worst nightmare anymore. You had a good point when you said that it should have been Mads Mikkelsen, and that would have been awesome because I would have loved to see him again.
Love to see him come back. He was a great character and a great actor, and he didn't get enough
I was about to say
time.
I wouldn't have loved to see him get killed by Wanda, but hey, wait a minute. Mordo survives. He does not get killed by Wanda.
True. He doesn't. He just
it's the only one.
Well, the weirdest thing is Mordo survives because he just sits down in a ditch. A ditch that Doctor Strange easily got out of with no magic powers whatsoever. He just jumped out. And then Mordo's like, I'm going to stay here.
Jackie Chan'd his way out of that thing.
Yeah.
Yep, and Mordo's like, weird. Oh, dang.
I guess he beat me. I'll stay here.
Guess he just doesn't like me. This new world that he goes to has these places that you can walk where you can accidentally stand on these pads on the ground that take you down memory lane and show to everyone around you in this public space your deepest, darkest memories, mostly sad moments where you lost your parents and or girlfriend.
Like most people are going around thinking, what if I could relive the worst moments of my life? What if I could like see it right before my eyes?
So to me, that says this is a dream. This is Wanda being like, hey, what if I could make him relive some of the worst moments of his life? Like when, Christine broke up with him.
I kind of took it as like he got a little distracted and kind of started dreaming something else. And she's like, no, back to my dream. That's just like a weird memory machine. Look, see, America's using it too. See, now get back to the story.
Yeah.
In the Illuminati universe, they really try hard to paint a picture that Doctor Strange is the biggest threat to the multiverse. And they say this because their Doctor Strange used the Darkhold to dreamwalk and caused an incursion. They define an incursion as two universes colliding, which results in the death of both universes. America is actually the biggest threat to the multiverse because Doctor Strange apparently caused all this by dream walking, which is when you just enter a different universe
you just go into a different, like a person who's supposed to be there,
someone else's body. America actually travels from universe to universe and brings random like things and people with her.
Yeah,
if anything would be causing incursions, it's her. She'd be causing them everywhere. Like she's cracking the barrier between universes.
Dreamwalking and incursions make absolutely zero sense.
Can you explain to me? Because I just don't know. Why does dreamwalking cause incursions?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a dark magic witchcraft. It shouldn't be some sort of like temporal, spatial collapse universe thing. It's magic. I think she picked the name Dreamwalking because this is just how she gets into his dream. She just walks in.
That's what she had on her mind at the time. She's like, dreamwalking. Dreamwalking, yeah, that's a bad thing. Why do they call them incursions? Like two universes colliding, I would call it like a collision or like a temporal rip or something. They call it incursion, which means like an invasion or like an attack. I don't really understand how that fits the concept of two universes smashing into each other. But I think it sounds more like what Wanda is doing,
Wanda
kind of making an incursion into his brain.
In this universe, Doctor Strange mentions several times, you go on red in this universe. And I think that's a hint that this is a dream because the color red means Wanda's power. So this universe we know is a Wanda universe because you go on red.
Well, right. He's talking about when you cross the street or when you go,
the crosswalk.
In your car.
So Mordo says, it's not Wanda who threatens our reality. It's the two of you. I think this is because Wanda is the one who created their reality. They only exist because of her.
Yeah, they're in his head. They're like, we can't let you wake up. We'll die if you wake up. Oh, this is good. That's why they trap him. They're trying to keep him trapped in his own dream.
Doctor Strange, if he wakes up, then reality ceases to exist.
No,
just
America
like
threatens it too, because she moves him between dreams. If she lets him out of this dream, it doesn't exist anymore. Like, this is good. I like this. They should have made a movie about that. Like a world that's just a dream world that knows it's a dream world and is desperately trying to stop the dreamer from waking up. Yeah, it's like Link's Awakening.
As Mordo betrays them with drugged tea, he says another line that must be fed to him from Wanda to punish Doctor Strange, because he says, I'm only acting as you would. And this is Wanda reminding Doctor Strange that he betrayed his friends.
Okay. I just gotta give a round of applause to Wanda possessing Illuminati Wanda, because I think it was a really nice callback to other Sam Raimi films, such as
That's what I was just about to say. That's my next note. It's great really that Sam has this theme of moms becoming evil or possessed.
Yeah. I have to say that Charles Xavier, Professor X, floating out in his green suit with a golden hovering wheelchair, and it was the greatest thing that has ever happened. Greatest thing that has ever happened in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Absolutely the best part of this entire movie. And the worst part of this entire movie because of what's gonna happen to him. But man, when that happened, I practically jumped out of my chair in the theater and was like almost yelling. I was like, it's Professor X from the X-Men TV show.
You guys see that?
Oh my gosh, that was so good. And they even got Patrick Stewart, who is the Professor X.
Of course.
I mean, he doesn't quite say with my mind.
He doesn't have the voice. Lilandra. As part of this nightmare that she's made for Doctor Strange, he has Christine be the one who is imprisoning him and torturing him, his ex-girlfriend. You know, like, what other reason is there for her to be there? What are the odds?
Yeah, she wouldn't be here.
She doesn't work for the Avengers in his
she has
universe.
Nothing to do with them. She's a doctor.
Yeah, she's a surgeon. Oh, by the way, we know this Christine is created in the dream world because this Christine has bright red hair.
Yeah,
red, the color of dream things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's telling us something, that she's not real. She's made by Wanda's power. I love how these Avengers / Illuminati just have random Ultrons as their guards.
Yeah, I mean it's good.
Wanda just was like, I remember those Ultron things. That's what the Avengers like to use. They made those.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, because if Ultron had worked right, that's what he'd be doing, just guarding random things in the world.
Back to Wanda. I think that she may have pulled actual real Wong into the dream with her. Possibly.
Okay. Yeah.
Either that, because why else would she be doing stuff with Wong? Because she doesn't, So she needs another Darkhold book, and turns out there's like a cave that has all the spells.
Yeah, there is another Darkhold. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
I thought she had a whole
even
TV
more
show about getting one.
coincidentally. It's called the Wanda Core.
Yay,
her name.
The Wanda Core.
That's the name of the cave. It's like, you have a disease called the Homer Simpson syndrome. Oh, why me?
Why is she even bothering with all this? Doctor Strange isn't here. He can't see this.
Right. Well, it's to trick Wong, because he's also her alibi for faking her own death. So.
Oh, okay.
This is when she shows up and she kills all the Avengers, which is, I mean, if that's not like Doctor Strange's worst nightmare come to life, what is?
Well, it's also like Wanda wish fulfillment, right? Like she's always wanted to do this ever since Age of Ultron, when she fought the Avengers and they beat it. Since when can Scarlet Witch spaghettify Mr. Fantastic with a flick of her finger?
Yeah.
Or
I don't even like Mr. Fantastic. Some people like the Fantastic Four. I don't personally understand it. I just feel like he's with
Listen
the
here,
dumbest.
you little cupcake.
Whoa. That's Mr. Fantastic's
That's his
catchphrase.
best quote. That's what he says to
little
his wife whenever she doesn't agree with him.
But like, no matter what, I'm not saying Mr. Fantastic would win against the Scarlet Witch. I'm just talking in general.
For him
here.
to die like so
but yeah,
easily,
he wouldn't
it's a
die
bit,
instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, his thing is that he's like, he doesn't
Really
die.
smart.
He's made of rubber.
Oh yeah, that
like,
too.
You can't
but he's
really
also
hurt
really
him.
smart. The only one of these deaths that I can fully get behind is her killing Agent Carter, who is Captain America in this universe.
Having just watched several of these movies, I've seen Captain America throw his shield at just like random grunts in that same way, and they don't get chopped in half. They just fall down.
No, it's never this bloody.
So
the one that fans really get up in arms about is her beating Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel? Well, just the way she beats her by falling debris. There's one thing we know about Marvel superheroes. They are unaffected by falling debris.
Well, especially Captain Marvel, who literally her signature move is like
she
flying
flies through
face
spaceships.
first through like 6 spaceships. Yeah, just like straight through them.
Just the fact that, she can kill Captain Marvel with debris. She can disintegrate Mr. Fantastic in an instant, which
with like
Thanos had to collect like 5 Infinity Stones or however many it was before he could disintegrate people by snapping his fingers. But all that pales in comparison to Charles Xavier.
What she does to Xavier. Oh my gosh. This ruined the movie for me while I was watching it. Oh, gosh. I mean, no, this is the best proof of your theory because it would have to be a dream.
The biggest evidence this is a dream.
Charles Xavier to get murdered inside of someone's brain. Not just someone's brain, the brain of an extremely powerful superhero who wants to help him. He enters the brain of the Scarlet Witch from this universe, and she wants to get rid of this other Scarlet Witch. So he should be ultra powerful right now because he takes on the...
If you don't know anything about Professor Xavier, yes, he's an old man in a wheelchair, but when he goes into someone's mind, he enters a strange mind realm. Invincible. And he is ridiculously superpowered. He's invincible. He can be like
he's more powerful than the most powerful superhero when he's in someone's brain. Especially if that person wants him there and is supporting him. Then he gets even more powerful. And no.
He doesn't even fight back.
Well, right. It's not like he doesn't know that evil Wanda is coming. He knows. He knows exactly what threat he's facing.
He's like, I could pull you out of the rubble. He could just pick up the rubble. He's in someone's mind. He can levitate it.
He's Charles freaking Xavier, and he's in a brain. He can do whatever he wants. He could just blink and the rubble would disappear. Like, for him, here, it would actually make sense to disintegrate whatever he wanted. I mean, I was just so pumped for an actual good fight. And you know what? I would have been okay with it if Wanda won, because I understand that needs to happen in this movie, right? I just wanted a good fight. I just wanted them to show off Xavier in someone's brain, which we've never seen in live action Marvel movies.
You're like, this is why she destroyed them so easily, because they were building up to the Xavier. That's why they introduced Xavier.
I know. Like, it's the world's greatest cameo followed by the world's most unbelievable letdown, because he doesn't do anything. He just walks forward and dies.
I mean, if she killed him like a chump outside of someone's mind, sure. He's just a crippled
He's just an old man. But no, they had him in the mind and they didn't show off his, godlike powers. I just wanted to see a good fight.
They run and they take Christine with them to another universe.
So Wanda America gets captured. And then he goes to the bad universe. This is where Doctor Strange destroyed everything.
There's a haunted house and an evil Doctor Strange.
Wow, it's scary.
We get a little backstory, which I actually think this scene is done well, that he's saying his backstory for a reason. He says he had a sister who died while they were playing on the ice, and she fell through the ice, and he couldn't save her. To me, this shows why America is here, because his deepest fears are born from his subconscious. And we know that he fears not being able to save his sister who fell through the ice. What happens when America Chavez goes through dimensions? the
She
background
breaks
behind her
like-
turns
she
into
breaks it
ice.
like ice.
And she goes through it.
Yeah.
She is a girl falling through ice that he couldn't save. And
Yeah,
I
he
think
can't
that this
save
is
her.
actually intentional in no matter your interpretation.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Absolutely.
But like it definitely fits well into this is his worst fear manifested from his subconscious, is that she was just captured by Wanda, and now he's revealing his backstory is that his sister fell through the ice and he couldn't save her. Like her portals could look like anything. They could be swirling miasmas. No, they look like breaking ice.
Well, they look like stars, but
Well, yeah, but like she punches and the stars
I
have
know.
like cracks around them.
I get it. I think that's fun. I also got to point out that, man, the third eyes sure look terrible in this movie. They really look awful.
Yeah, oh man, they're so bad.
It's like the worst CGI ever. Like they could have just taped a painted marble to his forehead and it would have looked better and cost infinitely
I know.
less. I do have my own theory that the Darkhold is actually trying to get Doctor Strange. It's not trying to get Wanda. I don't think you noticed this, and I definitely didn't notice this my first time watching the movie, but it's definitely intentional. Every time somebody is under the influence of the Darkhold, they seek out Doctor Strange, and then they ask him a specific question. Are you happy, Stephen? Even at the very end of the movie, after Doctor Strange finally uses the Darkhold, the very end, last scene in the movie, he turns to Wong because Wong is like, hey, how do you feel after using the Darkhold? Doctor Strange says to him, I'm fine, but I do want to ask you something. Are you happy? And then Wong gets really worried and he says, that's an interesting question.
So now it's trying to get the Sorcerer Supreme. It's
It
trying to
is.
get
I
Wong
think it
now.
is. I think it wants both of them.
Maybe it didn't realize Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme because it was from a different universe.
Right. I thought it was still strange. But Wanda asked him this specifically when he sought her out in the evil red world, the fake orchard. She says to him, are you happy? Are you really happy, Stephen? And then right here where he meets the Darkhold corrupted Doctor Strange, he asks him specifically, he says, are you happy, Stephen? It's preying on his desire for happiness. And it's like, I can offer you that happiness. I can make you powerful. I can make you anything you want. And I just thought that was a cool theme where everyone under the influence of the Darkhold always asks Doctor Strange if he's happy.
That is interesting.
When good Doctor Strange meets bad Doctor Strange, why do they have a music fight?
Yeah.
This has made no sense to me ever since I watched this movie the first time, and I've never figured it out. They start fighting. You expect it to be like the craziest magic fight we've ever seen. We expect it to be something that in Doctor Strange 1, when the original
when he
Sorcerer
meets Tilda
Supreme
Swinton.
first opens his mind and he goes through the world's craziest kaleidoscope.
Mhm.
We're expecting that times 100, like with upside down cities and crazy clockwork backgrounds and things like that. No, it's musical notes. They have a music fight. Why?
Yeah,
Do
they
you
have
know
a
why?
music
I don't
fight.
know why. I have no idea. It's like if Spider-Man's swinging around and then he sees a bad guy and the bad guy's running away. So he's like, oh, I have to stop him. So he points his web shooter at the bad guy and like a jet of flames erupts from his arm and he burns the bad guy to cinders. And then he's like, got him. It's like if he just randomly has flamethrower arms just for that one scene and never uses them ever again and then goes back to web slinging. That's what it's like. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Why all the music fighting?
Yeah.
I mean, you know Sam Raimi, so maybe you know.
I think Sam is talking about himself during this sequence where we already talked about a little bit, where he says, are you happy? The other guy's like, Christine asked that. Of course I'm happy. I'm the sorcerer with the power of the gods. Why wouldn't I be happy? And then I came back to this damn haunted house. You should know that Sam Raimi's production company is called Ghost House. And I think he's the director. He's like, why shouldn't I be happy? I'm a director with the power of the gods. I can make, Spider-Man movies and horror movies. And why shouldn't I be happy? But I always come back to this haunted house. So the musical fight, I don't have a good explanation for it, but I just noticed every time the good Doctor Strange sends music, it plays some sort of heroic symphony.
Yeah.
Every time evil Doctor Strange sends music, it plays like like generic haunted house mansion music.
But that makes sense. Good guy music sounds good. Bad guy music sounds scary, right? Like,
but I think this is an internal struggle with Sam Raimi himself. He's like, am I the guy who does superhero movies, these heroic things, or am I the guy that does the horror movies, right?
Well,
like
that
I
makes
made
sense. That's why he's
Evil
been
Dead,
ping-ponging
but
between. He also made Spider-Man.
got my huge success from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I guess we know which one wins in the end, the one that makes more money, which is the hero, Doctor Strange.
All right. Well, there you go. Money.
That's my theory. Why is it music? I don't know.
I personally think that maybe some executive sent him a note that said, remember, when Strange meets Strange, we have an epic magic fight, but it got autocorrected to music. And I think Sam Raimi thought that was so hilarious that he's like, all right, you want a music fight? You get a music fight.
That's
the only explanation I can think of it.
You know, you said that an executive sent him a note. What wins this fight? A single note from a harp?
Yeah, why was that harp's note so much more powerful than all the other notes? Harp notes don't like explode when you hear them.
Well, to be fair, notes don't do any of the things they're doing with them. So
I also felt like if they were gonna do a music fight, they shouldn't have like half-assed it, right? Like,
yeah, it should have been a rap battle.
Wow, yeah.
So one thing I always loved about this movie is when he takes over his dead body, and then he takes over a bunch of evil spirits and just is supremely powerful.
He's so much more powerful with the Darkhold than she ever was.
What would have made it better is if they had somehow set up these evil spirits sooner.
Yeah.
Because they really come out of nowhere. Like, it's fun when you bring back something earlier in the movie to save the day.
We're here to haunt you.
Yeah, that's strange. I think that the reason they come out of nowhere is because at this point, Wanda has gone full nightmare mode and she's just like pulling stuff out. Like, what's scary? Make it scarier. I know, ghosts. They're going to get you and you're a zombie.
Okay. I love that Sam Raimi found a way to work Deadites into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because Doctor Strange doesn't just become like a zombie or an animated body. He definitely becomes a Deadite. Like, there's a clear way that Sam Raimi's Deadites look with their prosthetics and makeup, and that is how he looks. He's definitely a Deadite.
Yeah, that is great. He gets attacked by these demons, these souls, and they somehow get out and they also attack Christine. They grab him in the haunted house world, even though he's also in like the snowy mountain world. And then the damned souls pull him underwater, black water. Souls. Christine shouts, "Steven!" and grabs his hand. Then it shows a shot of his face, and on his face for just half a second, they flash blue light, and then it goes away. Blue kind of represents reality. For a moment, he's in the stage where maybe he might wake up just a little bit. And I think that's because the nightmare has gotten so scary, because this is his worst nightmare. This is how his sister died. She went under the water. He's being pulled underwater by these damn souls.
And he almost woke up.
Yeah. Christine is looking at Steven while he's here, and his body is shivering. In his mind, he's being pulled underwater, but his body is shivering.
He's in the
Himalayas. She touches it and goes, "Ow!" as though it's really cold. That's how his sister died. She was pulled underwater and then died of cold. He's dying exactly how his sister did. This is his worst nightmare come to life.
It's funny that we now find out that Illuminati Wanda went home after murdering all of the Avengers and just kind of went home. And I kept expecting Illuminati Wanda to like get mad and be like, "You're not going to take my kids from me." And she never does. And I was like, oh man. Because like she's still the Scarlet Witch.
Because she's not real.
Yeah.
Because it's all a dream.
That's true. It's at this point that Wanda has a change of heart and she kind of sides with Doctor Strange, which I don't really get if your theory is what's happening.
This is the part where she needs to fake her own death.
Oh, right. I forgot she needed to do that because S.H.I.E.L.D. is hunting her down.
Yes. Because she knows there are lots of other superheroes. She's not as powerful as she would like everyone to believe she is.
She's only got dream powers and little like, red bolts. So.
And she just did, this crazy thing in Westview. Someone's going to come after her. And that's why she pretends to have a change of heart. She pulls the whole cave down on herself, and she does it in front of Doctor Strange and possibly Wong, who is also dreaming at this point.
Yeah.
So that she has two witnesses who know, oh yeah, she's dead. That's why she has her change of heart.
No objections from me. That makes sense.
Now, Doctor Strange goes out of his zombie body, goes back to the haunted house universe. He's like kissing Christine. Christine asks him what his universe is like, and he says, my universe is very beautiful, which is not true at all. Her universe is just like his universe, but everything is covered in flowers. It's his universe, but way more beautiful. If he took her to his New York, she'd be like, this is gross, disgusting. Where are all the flowers?
But no, maybe she would like it because she'd be like, ooh, this is so different. It's so weird. It's exotic.
Those flowers aren't supposed to be growing there. It's like weeds.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got to get rid of those flowers.
It's so dingy. If only there was more concrete.
He says that Wanda has destroyed the Darkhold in all universes.
Yeah.
To me, that is a big evidence for this all being a dream, because Wanda doesn't have the ability to destroy things in other universes unless she's dreamwalking, according to, this fantasy. That's the whole point of the movie, was that she needed America Chavez to go to other universes and do things.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she...
Although she could have just dreamwalked there.
Into every universe all at once.
That doesn't make any sense to me. She couldn't do that. That's just part of the dream. Stephen leaves America at the monastery and goes back to New York. I think that this is probably where Wanda stops making America in their minds. This point is good evidence because I guarantee we will never see America Chavez again.
Oh, really? I thought they were kind of setting
I don't
her
think
up
she's
to be
coming
like
back.
part of phase 5 or 6 or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think we're ever going to see her again.
Yeah.
Does Doctor Strange wake up?
Well, there's like a whole motif in this movie of like, open your eye.
I think that he is still in the nightmare world. At the end, we know this because he is wearing a red shirt. Up until this point, he was wearing his own clothes.
Yeah, it's weird.
But he changed into dream clothes that were made by Wanda. Before that, he was wearing blue.
Well, and then what happens? Does anything weird happen, or is it just like a normal day for him?
Well, and then we get the scene at the very end of every nightmare, like at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street, where they've beaten Freddy and they're still in a dream. He opens his third eye and screams, and he's like, third eye, scary. So he's still in some kind of nightmare.
So he's walking him down the street. He's looking like super happy. And then he like starts to get a headache and he doubles over and then he like looks up towards the sky and screams and his third eye opens. Presumably this happened because he's been using the Darkhold. But wait, he's crossing the street. And if you look very closely at the sign, he is actually crossing on red. It is the man is not lit up. The red hand is fully lit up. It's not blinking. He should not be crossing right now. And this is also underlined because as he is sitting there screaming, a car drives up to him at speed and stops just short of hitting him. I think it's showing that he's fully embraced the go on red attitude. He's stuck in a dream.
This movie is called The Multiverse of Madness. Do you feel like we went through a bunch of multiverses in this movie?
In one scene. 10 seconds.
I think that the key word in this title is madness. That's what this movie is about. This is Doctor Strange going mad because he's being affected by the Scarlet Witch. This whole thing is just a fever dream.
I can get behind that. It makes sense. Honestly, it makes just as much sense as the movie, normally. So why not?
Normal movie.
This movie is polarizing enough that I can say if anybody didn't like this movie, maybe they could go back and watch it. And, with this theory in mind, they might actually like it.
I think
it might
it's
be a
more
completely
fun.
different movie. Well, and the best part about this is that it buffers the deaths of all those characters that you might have loved because they don't actually die. This is a dream. She didn't kill Xavier.
It's just a nightmare.
And it also makes her much, much less evil because she's not evil. She's just giving Doctor Strange a nightmare and he deserves it.
It helps if you watched WandaVision and liked Wanda in WandaVision, as many people did.
Yeah, it helps to preserve her character arc.
Again, just mind-boggling that they would let Sam Raimi do this to Wanda when after WandaVision, she was like their most popular character. That was the best thing they had going for them.
She was like the only one left of like, the original superheroes.
Like, it's so weird. Disney wanted to go in the powerful women superhero direction, which I think is great. They made The Marvels, where they're like, yeah, we have 3 strong women superheroes. You already had 3 strong women superheroes that people actually liked, and you killed them all.
All of them.
You killed Gamora.
You killed Gamora, you killed Black Widow, and now you killed Wanda. No, it's completely true. And everyone loved those 3 characters. I think that about wraps us up. So remember to like, subscribe, leave a review if you're able to do that. We also have a Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do and want us to keep doing it, feel free to show your support on our Patreon.
Music for this episode was provided by Christine.
And remember, the popcorn isn't real.